Hey yo. So you're familiar with kangaroos, right? I'm sure you are. Well, are you familiar with the movie The Hills Have Eyes? Well, this movie's kind of like that. But I'm gonna break it on down in the next trap recap. So the movie begins with this chick who's real emo, you know what I mean? So we're just gonna call her Emma. And this is her former homegirl who is now like pretty much the main squeeze of Pops. She's not happy about it. They stop at the obligatory diner on their way to the cabin. They pull up. Of course, their ceiling's missing. And they get out. They're trying to, unpack, fill out the scene, you know what I'm saying, peep the scene out. And we established that there's no service out there. They go in, and that night they have dinner. And she's like, oh, thanks for the hot dogs. You know I'm vegan. It's like, man, you tripping all the time. You hooked me and your homegirl up. Pops try to get up all in her face and stuff. But she run up on out of there. She ends up taking the car, going into town, seeing what trouble she can find. Feel? So she heads up into the bar, and the bartender's like, yo, you look kind of sweet. You look like a cupcake. Let me see that ID. But she's 21, so he inevitably hooks her up with a drink, And then this old alpha Chad comes over, and he tries to, shoot his shot. Come to find out, she was packing the pokey. It's like, if you don't bag up, I'm gonna run you through. So he leaves, and then she goes and sits with the couple in the back, right? And they chopping it up, talking about going on an adventure. So she's like, yeah, I could do a shot to that. Then they take off, and they go to the house where this local legend happened, Crazy Family. And they just walk right in, and they're searching around, unlawful entry. They go into the basement, and it stank like 3-day-old butthole, you know what I mean? Just disgusting. And then they find a little mat set up, and then they find a camcorder set up as well. They view the footage, and it's definitely some stuff that's not safe for the workplace. So somebody starts coming down the stairs, and they start hiding out, They get lost. And finally, when the coast is clear, they run up the stairs, go to the kitchen, hop out the window. Only thing is, Emma, she wasn't down. So she inevitably went deeper into the house. And then she finds a motherfucking skeleton, old Skeletorio. And then she dips out. But the lady of the house ends up taking a shot at her. She runs back to the car like, yo, don't forget about me. And they're like, get in, bitch. And as they drive off, the lady of the house ends up taking a shot at them and also getting their license plate. And she tells her, dude, we got these motherfuckers. So they ride out all night. They end up riding back to town just as the light hits the sky. And Emma's trying to get them to do something about it, but they're like, nah, we about to go back to the crib. When she arrives back at the cabin, she gotta try to explain why there's a bullet hole in the back of the car. Well, Pops called in to Jake, you know what I mean? He starts going back and forth, letting them know, like, yo, we visiting. My little shorty came home with the bullet hole. The sheriff's like, yo, it shouldn't be much to worry about. So Pops and New Mom go into town for the evening. And Pops makes a little detour at the local ammunition. And back with the Hillbilly clan, they sit down at the table and they're trying to figure out what they're gonna do. And brother comes in and he's like, yo, somebody was up there messing with my sis. Takes a shot and is like, oh, hell no, let's go ride on these bitch ass niggas. So the girlfriend's at work at the liquor store and she gets a call from her man. He's like, babe, you're at the store, right? And she's like, yeah, of course I am. He's like, okay, well, she sees somebody pull up. She probably thinks it's her man. So she step out. And when she get out there, she don't see nobody. But sis grabs her from under the truck, fuck her up. And then they both wake up, boyfriend and girlfriend, chained up. And bruh standing right over them just laughing. And he holding the axe. He's like, yo, y'all about to be my new playthings. Y'all should have never fucked with mama. And they're like, we don't know what you're talking about. So yeah, you don't know what I'm talking about when I put my foot all in your ass. Then sis comes down and she's like, yo, stop fucking with him. It's time to go to work. And they're Everybody's still trying to plead for their lives. And it's like, there ain't gonna be no pleading. It's just gonna be a whole bunch of bleeding. So that night, she goes back down to the bar, and then she all of a sudden sees the bartender talking to the sheriff. The sheriff makes his way over and he's making conversation. He brings up how he met her dad and the bullet hole in the car, but it doesn't go that far. And he's like, well, if you think of anything, here's my number. So back at the cabin, new mom's trying to get her little drink on, trying to get lit. Pops is moving around his new pistol, and he's about to go outside. But then when he goes out, he sees some old dead animal. And I don't know if she hit him up later or what she did, but she doesn't even ride back to the cabin until it's morning time. And she slowly goes inside and she sees her new mom all beat up and tied up. And then Brug comes from behind, grabs her up. Sis is outside with Pops. And she's like, I'm gonna show you a trick. If I can knock this apple off your head, then I get to get some head. But if I don't, then you're dead. Back inside, the girls are all tied up. And Brug's like, man, I am gonna do some weird stuff to you. But you want some meat? It's actually a nice charcoal, your friends. And while he's gone, she slides up off the chair, calls the sheriff back. It's like, yo, remember me from last night? Well, I need you to get over here because there's some crazy rednecks. Hurry. So then she slides back into place. Just as the siblings come back inside with Pops, they throw him down. Sis tells the girls, yeah, me and your Pops had a deal, and now he gonna dive in it tonight. Bro's like, what you mean? I'm the only one that dives in that. You know Mama said that's the way we supposed to do it. And she's like, well, that's why Mom didn't leave you in charge, so get your ass out there and get some kindling. Get a fire started so we can cook some more meat while I go and get some meat. So Sis drags Pops into the room, throws him down on the bed. She's like, let me get a little pretty for you real quick, because we about to get nasty. And she jumps on top of him. And then she goes downstairs, to unbuckle him and get him ready for Freddy. Then pops up on top and starts riding it like a rodeo. Meanwhile, Brug's outside and the sheriff shows up. And he's like, what you doing here? And he's like, yo, what you doing here? Man, you know you ain't supposed to be messing with no tourists. No out-of-towners, remember, because people come looking for them. He's like, yo, we do what we want. He's like, yo, you my cousin and all, and I always let this shit slide. But that's why you ain't in charge, because you an idiot. So why don't you listen to what I say? And he's like, nah, I ain't gonna listen to you. He's like, okay, you ain't gonna listen? Well, how about this? And then as he drew his gun, Sis hit him with the young long shot. And he's trying to get to his gun. He's like, yeah, that's why you ain't one of the family, even though you one of our cousins. And then he gives him the axe, murder, and a little nipple. And while they're outside, Pops is trying to unleash the girls. He's like, yo, you raped me. Now I'm gonna take you out. So Pops rushes Sis, hits her with the forearm choke. While he's doing it, his daughter shoots, ends up hitting him in the back. Sis is like, you a dumb bitch, huh? And then jumps on top of Pops, but with Emma's last shot, she shoots and clips Sis in the arm. So they run into the kitchen. Mom puts her out the window, and here comes Sis, pull her by the hair and just shanks her up. It's like, yeah, that's what you get, biatch. So Pops get back up. He sees he's all fucked up, and he's still captive. So they take him outside, throw him down by the fire. Bro and Sis start arguing. It's like, this is why I never married you and I only use you for a booty call. And he's like, yo, why don't you go find the girl? And she's like, I will, motherfucker. So she take off into the woods while bro's eating some of the flesh they cooked up. Sis is out in the woods and gets startled by Emma. She hits her with a stick, take her out. Comes back to the campsite, yo, like, what up, big bitch? You want some of this? So big bro rushes her, taking her down, trying to choke her out. Pops gets up, tries to do something, but he's just barely a distraction. And then next thing you know, she gets up aims, draws, fires, and they're all good. So now they hug it out, and then they go inside. They decide that they're going to eat new mom to get rid of the evidence, and that's the end of